In this video, I'm going to share with you how to maintain friendships. I guarantee that everyone that's watching has lost, fallen out of touch, or struggled with nurturing their friendships, myself included. At 31, I don't really believe in cutting people out entirely anymore. Maintaining your ability to make new friends is also a really good skill for maintaining your current friendships. Hey folks, my name is Vin. I use they, them, theirs pronouns, and this is the Venn diagram, which is dedicated to the intersection of my life experiences. I am a 31-year-old and I make self-development content, which is focused on harmonizing emotional intelligence and ambition. So this first section is how friendships fall by the wayside. My routine changed drastically after high school and then also after college. After college, I can't go to class with anybody anymore because I gotta go to work. I can't easily grab lunch with one of my best friends because we live on the other side of Los Angeles. If you know, you know. You might not be able to hang out with your friends for 2 months because weekends only come so few and far between and they fill up so quickly. You know what I mean? Just like not paying attention to our muscles causes them to atrophy and stagnate, the same happens to our friendships. We don't choose to maintain them. We assume that friends will always be around. But as a 31-year-old, I have already started to face death in my friendships. We assume that friends will always be a part of our lives. But people move, they grow apart, and they start families that start becoming a little less relatable. So what can we do about it? Here's where I want you to take an honest self-assessment. What has been your role in the friendships that have fallen off? Speaking from my experience, I used to demand a lot from my relationships with my friends, and I still kind of do. It's scaled down a bit. This has really made me like an unreasonable friend at times. Like I have expected people to have to hang out with me this many times for me to qualify them as close. And I would like dock people if they didn't reach out to me for a period of time. I also recognize one of the other ways that I have fallen off friendships is because of the way that I was raised. I really feel the need to save other people. And when I can't, I get really frustrated with them and those friendships end up dying. But a good relationship is one in which neither person needs to be saved by the other person. It's not a healthy dynamic, and it's a lesson I had to learn again just this year, and I had to lose that friend recently. So what about you? Have you had unreasonable expectations of the people around you? Are you bad at keeping in touch with people? Do you tend to gravitate towards people that need you, and then once they expend you, they leave? Really ask yourself these questions, and I'm sure you'll be able to find a pattern there. And by no means am I saying that it's simply your fault. Relationships take at least 2 parties to work, but you do have a level of responsibility to change your future for better outcome. Next thing I want you to do is an energy assessment. Who do you value? Who brings you energy? Who makes you feel like they light your world every time that you're around them? So this is probably a pretty small list, and that's pretty normal, and I want you to know that that's okay. Make sure that you are bringing value to the people that you just listed, even more than or at least as much as they are. And I want you to know that it doesn't have to be 50-50, like equal all the time. Sometimes we can only give 20 and others can give 20 depending on what we're going through in life, and the right friends will understand that. I also want you to ask who doesn't make you light up. You're gonna have to assess whether or not you want to downsize time with them or eliminate them from spending time with you at all. At 31, I don't really believe in cutting people out entirely anymore, but I do believe in just stepping back if I need to, regardless of if I have known them for a really long time. If they are not making me feel good when I am with them, then they are taking away from my energy, and I only have so much energy to give, so be wise with that energy. If you had a child, or if you have a child, or if you had like a younger niece or nephew or nibbling, you know, somebody that you look out for every now and then, you would want this child to have the best exposure they can to life, right? The best support system, the best resources, and the best life possible ultimately. Do that for you, please. Think of yourself as that child that needs only the best things in your life to make sure that you have the best possible chances of becoming the best version of yourself. Okay, I said best enough. All right, I'm sorry. Okay, the next thing I want you to do is to do a people assessment. If you're watching this, you're probably doing it on a social media app of some sort. There are probably friends that you engage with on social media on occasion, but you might not actually see very often. Maybe you just react to their posts and then they react to yours, and you just message each other every couple of months or every week even. but you're not really in constant contact because that's not where your friendship really is. These friendships or acquaintanceships are really good for testing and experimenting. If this person has been a constant, like, social media supporter friend of yours for a long time, and like say you met years ago, then you probably have like a baseline of shared values and understanding of one another. You probably have mutual friends, you went to the same college, or had similar extracurriculars of some sort. I would urge you to see if any of those people are willing to actually hang out in person and take your acquaintanceship online into real time together. I probably do this about once a month. I reach out to one new person that I generally have not historically hung out with, but I have engaged with over time on like social media or text or whatever, but we've never hung out and we've never like even done a phone call. But because you've stayed in touch, there is definitely some rapport there that you can leverage to your benefit, which I mean benefit as in friendship, just friendship. And I would argue that maintaining your ability to make new friends is also a really good skill for maintaining your current friendships. Remember things about people such as their dog or their partner or something that you know they were going through a couple months ago and wanted to check in about. Continue to make bridges between you and people. And honestly, you should be doing that with your current friends. And the last piece of this video is coming up right here, where you can kind of systematize the maintenance of your friendships. And I know this probably doesn't sound very cool and might sound a little too official or too corporate or too worky, but think about it. You have work projects that you keep tabs on. Why not do the same thing for friends? I have a list of all my friends on Trello. I also have them bracketed by how close we are, like by my inner circle, close, good friends, and each person has their own section. And I take notes based on the conversations that we have, if I remember to take notes on them. So say I hang out with one of my friends and they talk about this person that they're seeing. So next time I'll try to remember that, putting it in here, oh, ask about this person. And I only recently started to do this, but because I'm kind of working on a lot of creative projects and I'm constantly making new friends, it's a little difficult to keep track of everybody, and now I'm starting to feel bad when I forget stuff. So this is a good place for me to have things in one place. I also recognize that as we get older, our life problems get a lot more complicated than oh my god, I don't know if he likes me. It's much more there's death in the family, my parents are ill, I'm going through this really difficult thing, different challenges in life that can't just be kind of a gossip level of stuff anymore. And I just want you to think about it in that way, where stuff does get more complicated. So keeping track of your friends is kind of gonna get more complicated. And this is one of the ways that you can simplify that process. Also, doesn't have to be Trello. You could just have a note app. It could also be captions on pictures that you save on your phone. And then that's how you remember what you guys talked about or whatever. And the number one reason I'm doing that is I wanna honor my friendships by knowing how I can best be there for them with whatever they're going through. If the main thing I can do is just remember that something is happening, then they're gonna feel seen, they're gonna feel understood, and they're gonna know that I'm there for them because I remember these things. And just so for clarity, for transparency here, I have about 10 to 12 phone calls with friends every single month. So it's about 2 to 3 in a given week. Sometimes it's more because then I have more impromptu ones. I have a couple that are recurring or every other month. Some of these are one-offs 2 times, 3 times a year. And I only have 3 that are recurring every month for the people that I'm really, really closest to. And unfortunately, most of my phone calls with my friends are because I can't see them in person because I'm not in the same city as them. And that's just where life is right now. That is how I'm managing. So you have to find the balance that works for you. Maybe you hate phone calls, maybe you hate video conferencing. You really want to maintain your friendships in person. Figure out when you can do that. I have personally found that I don't need a lot of in-person touch points with my friends, and that's okay. Because if I did, I would never probably have time for anything else other than hanging out with people. And you have to recognize that that's part of life too. Maintaining friendships as you all move further away from each other and go through different life things, the maintenance of the friendship is gonna shift. So let's wrap this up. How are you responsible for the relationships that have fallen off to the wayside? Be patient with yourself on this one. Who lights up your eyes when you're with them and who doesn't? Be selective, because after all, you really are the average of the 5 or so people that you're around. And that means the average of their best and their worst traits. Who can you add? Who can you bring more value to? And they're a lot closer to you than you might realize. And lastly, how do you make this a sustainable process for you? How frequently do you even need to see people? How many people do you want to see frequently? Do the math and make the math possible for you. That's all I've got for today. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next video.